In this video, we show how to change the oil on a VR6 base model Cayenne and how to reset the service interval. We cover the parts and tools you will need, the quantity of oil required, and cover the special oil filter sockets and special drain plugs you'll need. Drive the Cayenne to warm up the oil and make it easier to drain. Driving it will also stir up particles into the oil that we're about to flush. When you park it, make sure you put it in park and make sure you engage your parking brake. We're going to lift it. Jack up the Cayenne high enough to insert a large bucket that can hold at least 3 gallons and leave some space for above the bucket to work with as well. If you need it, I made a full-length guide covering the jack points on the Cayenne in which I go into much more detail and safety tips, so that's its own video to properly cover it and is available on my channel. Remove the underbody panels. The trim panel at the front is held in by Torx screws only, and the front panel and middle panel underneath are held in by 10mm bolts. If you need a specific walkthrough, a step-by-step guide is also available on my channel for removing the underbody panels. First, open your oil cap under the hood to let the oil drain faster, leaving the oil cap loosely sitting in position. With the vehicle suspended, underbody panels removed, and enough space available to insert a large bucket with some room left over, we can access the drain plug. My old drain plug was 18mm. The clearance is tight and a socket doesn't fit. You'll need a wrench. Crack the drain plug loose and remove it, letting the oil drain for at least 20 minutes.
So that's how far it goes. It goes like a stream all the way there. Good to know.
20 minutes later, we install the replacement drain plug. On the base model Cayenne with the VR6 engine, the drain plug and crush washer are sold as one item because the drain plug has a captive seal washer, meaning that the crush washer is built in. My original drain plug plus crush washer was 18mm. The replacement drain plug washer replacement is 19mm. First, making sure it catches by the threads by hand, we install the new drain plug and then tighten it. The new drain plug gets torqued to 22 foot-pounds. I did not fit a torque wrench, so I approximated without stripping the threads and checked for leaks later. In addition to an oil pan drain plug, the VR6 engined base model Cayenne also has a drain plug on the oil filter. If you don't remove this, about a liter of oil spills everywhere. If you remove this, the liter of oil still spills everywhere, but is a bit more manageable. A 6mm hex bit is required to loosen the oil filter drain plug.
Super messy, but we got it. Drains all over your front differential. This is how it drains.
You can get creative with cardboard to prevent some of the mess. Let it drain for another 20 minutes or until it stops draining. With the drain plug removed and the oil from the filter drained, remove the oil filter using a 36mm socket. The one I used is linked in the description.
Got it off. Carefully maneuver it out. Above, I guess, the differential. That's very interesting. There we go. Now we just swap out the filter.
You don't need to let this drain, but it's nice to put a paper towel under it to let it catch any drips. Next, we'll replace the filter and reinstall it. We're getting close to being done.
Once you have it like this, you might want to flip it over your bucket, because otherwise it'll still spill, even if you drained it. Ask me how I know.
Remove the old filter from the filter housing, paying attention to how the plastic tabs go down into the filter housing. Remove the old filter O-ring using a flathead screwdriver to pick it off. There's a little flat spot there on purpose you can use to get a screwdriver under. Now we install the new O-ring into the groove for the O-ring, lubricating it with some new oil so it makes a good seal. The new filter goes in one way, with the plastic tabs facing into the filter housing. We install the oil filter drain plug, which we hand tighten now, and will torque down later. If you replace your oil filter drain plug, Then give it a dab of oil on the gasket so it also makes a good seal. If you like pre-filling your oil filters, unfortunately there's no easy way to do this due to the installation angles. With the new filter installed in the filter housing and the filter drain plug loosely installed, maneuver the whole thing into position and onto the engine, being careful to apply a bit of force to properly seat it, and then hand tighten. Then torque the drain plug to 7.5 foot-pounds, and then torque the whole thing, i.e. the oil filter, to 19 foot-pounds. With the drain plug installed, with the oil filter replaced and torqued, check that everything is tight and plugged, and then we begin to add oil. Pour in 7 quarts, then start the Cayenne and let it idle for a minute or two to let it fill up the oil filter, and then we add the final 0.5 to 0.75 quarts, measuring it with the dipstick to make sure the level is in the middle to above the middle. With everything said and done, I ended up at the top of the oil line with 7.75 quarts total. Unfortunately, an OBD2 scanner is required to reset the service interval. Let's share how to do that.
There we go, like so below, and turn on
The ignition without starting the car.
You can see it says service.
Plugged in, let's hit diagnose.
Porsche. Oil lamp reset. Switch on ignition. Okay. V6. Coating was changed. There we go. Now next time you start it up, it should not say service.
At this point, you can hold off on reinstalling the body panels and give it a few days to make sure there are no leaks from anywhere, or you can go ahead and reinstall the underbody panels. Lower the vehicle and enjoy. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope this helped.